Hi, my name is Fred Moreno, and I'm going to be interviewed by Bobby Fazio, and I live up the street in Laverne, just a couple blocks up the street. So running super stock here at the AAA finals, and he's going to interview me and I guess ask different questions that the law hasn't, I guess.
That's perfect. All right, we're back at the 2022 NHRA finals here in Pomona. I love coming out to the West Coast. Get out of that Jersey cold, get over here in California, nice and warm. But the sun's going down. And I came across Fred Moreno's Mustang here, the 69 Mustang. So I wanted to get an interview. I mean, why not? So Fred, tell us about your Mustang here. We already know where you come from now. Right down the street, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. But like I said, I was telling you earlier that this was my brother's high school car. And he bought it in '74 with the intention of building it as a super stock car. And he drove it to high school for a year. Me, my brother David, and Ron Matthews built it as a super stock car, and we've been running it ever since then.
That's crazy. So since
a few
74.
years after that, he had sold me the car because he ended up buying Steve Steele's '69 Mustang Cobra Jet car, stick shift. He always wanted that car, and we made a deal, and he sold me this car, and he bought that car. And we've been running the cars ever since.
All right, amazing. And so this was a 351, you said, and then Ron Matthews helped you guys put a 428 in? Did
Exactly.
he build that engine for you?
He helped us build the engine, and then we've been maintaining it ever since. With help, I mean, you always need help. People always need help, believe me. There's a lot of people always involved with engines. And Jim Morgan helped with the intake manifold and the cylinder heads. My friend Gene McBean has had Ron Hutter retouch up the seats on the heads. And then I've been maintaining whatever I can since this thing cost $1 million to run.
Super stock, sure does.
Exactly. So
it's a super stock G-Automatic. It's a 428. What were they advertised at, and what's it rated at?
this one was advertised at 335 horsepower, and it's rated at 345 horsepower.
All right, so up a little, up 10.
Up 10.
We allowed to see the carburetor on this?
Oh yeah, no problem.
What kind of carb comes on these?
They were originally the 735 carburetor, and now NHRA allows you to use a carburetor that has the same Venturi size, and because they're getting so hard to get the parts.
Correct.
So that was a good judgment in their call. So
All right.
they have replacement carburetors and stuff, but I've maintained my Holly. So
All right, so 735 Holly. What kind of manifold you got there?
that's the one Jim Morgan did for me about 80 years ago, even though he will say, I'm still not using it. It's a off-E manifold. He came out to the World Finals at Ontario, California in the mid-'70s. I told him we needed help with an engine, and he said he'd do a manifold for me, and that's the one he did. Even though people don't believe me, that's the manifold. You just got a picture of it. That is the manifold. So I don't have a sheet metal or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's the manifold.
Because in super stock, you are allowed any manifold you want.
Any manifold, as long as if it had a single 4-barrel, you're allowed to use a single 4-barrel manifold of any type. Sheet metal, whatever you want to make, just whatever your bank account will allow.
Right.
So,
Now on these 428s, the cylinder heads that came on them, what were the valve sizes in these?
2090 was the intake, and 1.66 was the exhaust valve.
Okay.
And now you're allowed to use the aftermarket cylinder heads also. And
Right, so you can put the aluminum head on if you want.
yeah,
right? But
the
you have to
Edelbrock
carry,
aluminum one.
you have to carry extra weight normally when you do that.
I think it's 10 horsepower additional, but the difference in the power of the cylinder head will make up for the difference. And Jim Morgan from Morgan International keeps on saying, hey, why don't you just put those things on there? These are a pain to work on.
Right,
So
I
it's like,
know. That's the problem. And I have cast iron heads in super stock also, and I just, hurt both of them.
But-
and now it's who do you get to work on them anymore? It's just
Well,
difficult.
I'm going to ask him again. Oops, you knew before I asked him, so he's going to see this before I ask him. So we'll see if he'll retouch the seats. But the aluminum head deal is a really good deal because these heads are getting harder to find.
Absolutely.
And thank God that they allowed the replacement heads for all these different motors. So, and then they can fine-tune the horsepower as people start running a lot faster.
Oh, yeah.
But
Now, the fact that this car's been a race car for so long, how many miles are actually on it?
oh, you know what?
Is the odometer still?
That's a good question. Let me get my flashlight.
Let's take a look inside.
Can you see it in there?
We're going to find out.
Okay.
I don't want the door to hit the truck here.
Can you see it?
There we go. 11615, 11,615 miles. Let's see if we can zoom in on that. There we go. All right. This is cool. Are these the factory seats?
Yep.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Factory shifter, factory seats, no transbrake, no two-step, none of that
You're just
new stuff.
Foot braking then, huh?
Just foot brake.
Oh,
That's all I learned to do. So I actually didn't know you're allowed to do all that stuff until young kids started saying, "Where's your air bottle?" and all that. And I said,
the air conditioner levers and. Did this have air conditioning? No, I don't.
This didn't have air. No.
Yep, but that's it.
And at the same time he bought this, my brother bought this car, a year later I bought a 69 Mustang Mach 1 390 car, and I still have that car at home.
Oh, man.
And I just need to repaint it and redo the motor, and then I can drive it to the In and Out again.
Oh, yeah. Now, tell us about the In and Out. You had a sponsorship from them?
Yes. When we first built the car, we knew the Snyder brothers. Me and my brother David knew the Snyder brothers. And since we used to wash their cars, my brother had asked Guy, one of the sons, if Harry would sponsor us. And Harry said, put the arrow and everything on the car and we'll do a deal. And basically he did it for about a year and a half. He helped us out. And one of the things I just told Mickey Thompson a while ago was those wheels on the back of this car are spun aluminum Cragars. Cragar had told me way back then that he would sell me halves and I could make whatever spacing I wanted. The back piece of this wheel is the original In and Out sponsored wheel that they gave us.
Wow.
So
you're one of the first racers to be sponsored by In and Out, it sounds like.
Exactly, we were. This was way before they did funny cars and all of that other stuff.
Oh,
so.
man, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah, we knew them. They were really good people.
I'm so excited that they are taking over naming rights of this track, right, and this race for the next 10 years. So thank you, In and Out Burger.
Oh, I know.
And they're getting a lot of business out of me this week.
Well, everybody that comes out here, that's the first place they want to go to.
Always.
The In and Out.
Always.
And my friend Gene McBean, when he came out here, he said, let's go to the In and Out and see what it's all about. And
yeah, that rhymes. That should be their slogan there.
Yeah.
So in Superstock G Automatic, what's your index and minimum weight?
My minimum weight's 3275, and my index is 1055.
All right.
And the quickest this car has ever gone is 952.
So a solid 103 under. What kind of mile per hour?
That went 137.99. It couldn't do the 138. It had to do the 137.99. So
now the shifter is stock, but what's the kind of transmissions in here?
I have a Pro Trans C6, one of their 904 C6 deals. The Smith, Dave Smith, Dave and Darren, they've always backed me. So I actually tested one of their first aluminum drums for the C6 a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody else had done one at the time, but Dave said, you know, keep it under your hat for right now because everyone's going to be calling. So I had one for about a year before anybody knew anything about it, so he could start production.
Yeah.
So I'd been working with them forever. So
Wow.
really good guys. And unfortunately, they moved from Palmdale to Texas. And
right?
I used to go up to the shop and we'd redo the transmission, or actually they would. I'd just watch and then pay them. So now I wish they didn't move to Texas,
right?
But I understand how it works.
Yeah, everybody understands why people leave California and head to Texas. What kind of rear is in the car?
So it's got the 9-inch Ford rear end, and Roger Lamb and Gary Hansen, race car builder, suspension guru Roger Lamb, they helped redo the 9-inch Ford rear end, and it's been flawless basically.
And you have leaf springs on here.
Kept the leaf springs on there because my bank account didn't say go to the coilovers and the aftermarket seats and all that. I decided I wanted to race and not keep it in the garage with all the new stuff.
Right.
So.
Well, it seems to be working fine. Can we look in the trunk too?
Oh, sure. So I've had that fuel cell forever.
Wow.
And I need to get actually a smaller one. I want to put one of the aluminum ones on there.
What's this, about an 8-gallon fuel cell? Or?
Yeah. Oh, they're just rolling it in there. 10-gallon Harwood.
10 gallon.
And which is too big for what we need today. So.
Now you have one of these lightweight lithium-ion batteries, huh?
Oh yeah, I like the ion battery, the lithium one for the weight and everything. I can adjust the weight on the car and control that a little better than using one of the 70-pound batteries or 50 or whatever they are.
Right. Is that a 16 volt?
Yeah.
16 volt battery.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, do you move classes at all, or do you stay in G?
I've been staying in G, but people have been telling me you need to go into F, and it fits in F better. But I can't get down to the minimum weight thing.
Okay.
Need to lose some of this.
Fred, I forgot to ask you about your torque converter. What kind do you have, and what size?
8-inch torque converter that was originally a Mike Munsinger torque converter, and Len Snyder redid that a couple of years ago, and runs flawless with his stuff.
Now, what kind of RPM do you leave the line at with this car, and what kind of RPM do you shift and go through the traps?
Usually I leave at about 34, 3,500 foot braking, and then I usually shift about 6,800, and then go through the lights about 7,400.
All right, so buzzing it up pretty good for a 428. What kind of, in order to take that, I mean, your spring pressure, is it, how high is that?
That camshaft is not that wild compared to the stuff that they got available today. I mean, I could call Bullet or whoever and get one of the killer camshafts and then have to use the 500 pounds on the seat and,
right,
you know, 20,000 pounds over the nose, you know. So, but I like to bracket race it basically. So I just keep an eye on it and make sure that nothing's going crazy. And with the T&D rockers, those things don't move. I should have bought those things a long time ago.
Yeah, the shaft is set up.
Oh yeah, every time I take the motor apart, put it back together, and I check the lash, it's the same as it was.
Wow, all
As
right.
long as the head gaskets are the same thickness and everything stays the same. It's kind of like you just put it together and nothing changes. Just,
I like that. Now that's something I might be trying this year. I've been running steel, you know, stud-mounted rocker arms all these years, but I'm going to try, I think, the shaft set up this year also. So you're making me feel good about it now.
I'd get rid of that stuff. That is old school, and you know, Gene McBean hammers me all the time about this kind of stuff, and you know, and I eventually change it, and it's always for the good. And I remembered I used to change the valve springs with that other original shaft-mounted Ford stuff, and I made a stud mount deal, and I had a Moroso valve spring remover. And I'd have to have this big giant bar like this one off of the floor, and it'd be just trying to change
hope
those
that it
valve
doesn't
springs.
slip.
And then the phone would ring. And then I'd get a lock stuck in there, and now I just have the LSM tool,
Yeah.
and just turn that thing down, and now the phone don't ring.
Yeah, that tool is very nice.
Oh, incredible. All
They make
that-
a lot of nice stuff,
Oh
LSM.
yeah.
So,
It just takes seconds to just change everything.
right.
Just life is a lot easier with that kind of stuff. So whatever I need, the minimum stuff I need, I buy it for it.
Yeah.
You know, so and make life easier. So, but
And what kind of rocker arms are you running? 1/6 ratio, 1/7?
that's I basically kept the same thing as it 176 stock, and T&D said just put the 175s on there and see what you think.
All right. What kind of cam lift are we talking approximately?
That one, gross valve lift, is actually that is a crane cam, and gross 740.
Okay.
Like if I get the aluminum heads, see, then I'm going to have more flow, and then I'll be able to get that better cam, and that's why those cars run fast. is
Absolutely.
Because, you know, all of that stuff gets so much better, and you get to spend more money.
Oh, absolutely.
And
That's the way this game goes.
Exactly.
But
so,
you are definitely part of the car show here, Fred, and we appreciate it. I want everybody to come check these cars out, stock and super stock. It's where it's at, and that's the car show. But not only that, they're going down the track. It's not like at a real car show where, you know, maybe if somebody does a burnout on the way out of the door and probably gets pulled over by the cops. This is where it's at right here. And Fred Moreno's car is one that everybody needs to check out. Fred, thanks for joining us. Good luck tomorrow morning.